Those 4 words, spoken with quiet determination, marked the end of an era. But behind that iconic line was a man who had lived 1,000 lives before he ever put on the metal suit. At age 6, Robert Downey Jr. was given marijuana by his own father. By 17, he was a high school dropout living alone in Hollywood. By 31, he was an Oscar nominee. By 36, he was in prison. And by 43, he became the face of the biggest movie franchise in history. This isn't just another celebrity success story. This is a raw, brutal journey of a man who lost everything. His career, his family, his freedom, and then built himself back up from absolute zero. Manhattan, 1965. Robert Downey Jr. was born to filmmaker Robert Downey Sr. and actress Elsie Ann. From the outside, it looked like the perfect artistic family. The reality? A home filled with drugs, strangers, and instability. While other children went to school, Robert went to film sets. While other fathers taught their sons to play catch, his father taught him how to get high. By age 6, his father had already given him marijuana, a moment that would send his life spiraling for decades. His parents divorced when he was just 10, shattering what little stability he had. Moving between coasts, changing schools constantly, he never found solid ground. At 17, he dropped out of high school and flew to Hollywood alone. No plan, no money, just raw talent and growing demons. In Hollywood, rejection followed rejection, until small roles in films like Weird Science, 1985, came his way. But everything changed in 1992 with Chaplin. His transformation into the silent film legend earned him an Oscar nomination at just 27. The world saw a brilliant young actor on the rise. What they didn't see was the addiction consuming him from within. On set, he was professional. Off set, he was disappearing into a nightmare of cocaine, heroin, and alcohol. The arrests began in 1996. Drugs, speeding, trespassing. Studios blacklisted him. Insurance companies refused to cover him. In 1999, the judge had enough. Robert Downey Jr., Oscar nominee, Hollywood star, was sentenced to prison. One night in his cell, another inmate attacked him violently. Lying in a pool of his own blood, he had a realization. If I don't change, I'm going to die here. After prison came more chances, more relapses. In 2001, police found him wandering barefoot in a Los Angeles alley, incoherent and barely dressed. The tabloids couldn't get enough. The mugshots, the headlines, the fall of a once promising star. His wife left, taking their son. No job, no family, no home, no future. This was rock bottom, the place where most stories end, but not his. In 2003, Robert met Susan Levin, a film producer who saw through his charm to the broken man beneath. She gave him an ultimatum: I will not be with you unless you change. For the first time, his transformation wasn't about court orders or career comebacks. It was about becoming whole. He threw his drugs into the ocean. He practiced Wing Chun martial arts. He meditated. He rebuilt his entire life: diet, fitness, spirituality, therapy. Yet Hollywood's memory is long. No one would hire him. No one would insure him. No one would trust him. Except one man. In 2006, director Jon Favreau fought to cast Robert as Tony Stark in Iron Man. Marvel Studios refused repeatedly. Too risky, too unstable, too much history. Finally, they agreed, but with strict conditions: low pay, constant drug testing. Zero tolerance. Robert didn't argue. He simply said, "Give me this role. I'll show you who I really am." The parallels were undeniable. Tony Stark, a brilliant but self-destructive man who nearly dies before building himself a new future. Robert Downey Jr., a brilliant but self-destructive man who nearly died before building himself a new life. It wasn't acting. It was redemption playing out on screen. Iron Man exploded at the box office in 2008, launching the Marvel Cinematic Universe and resurrecting a career everyone had. He married Susan in 2005. They had 2 children. He reconciled with his eldest son, supporting him through his own addiction recovery. The cycle was broken. After Avengers Endgame, 2019, Robert stepped away from the superhero that had defined his comeback. Instead, he bought an eco-friendly farm in Malibu, launched the Footprint Coalition to fight climate change, and produced meaningful projects through Team Downey, the company he founded with his wife. He made Senior 2022, a documentary about his father, not for fame, but for closure, for forgiveness. Today, worth over $300 million, he says his real wealth is his sobriety, his family, and his peace. And Robert Downey Jr.'s life teaches us it's never too late to change. Your past doesn't define your future. Sometimes you need to lose everything to find yourself. Discipline creates freedom. One good person can save your life. In his own words, remember that just because you hit bottom doesn't mean you have to stay there. Sometimes you have to get knocked down lower than you've ever been to stand up taller than you ever were. This isn't just his story. This is a mirror showing what's possible when you refuse to give up on yourself, even when the whole world has. From a prison cell to the biggest movie franchise in history, from addiction to inspiration, from chaos to peace. That's the real superpower. That's the real Iron Man.